Grey Aliens, Extraterrestrial Species, Part 1. Hello again, thank you for being here with me once more. I hope you are all doing very well. I am Mari Swaruu. Grey aliens are the most commonly found extraterrestrial race in popular culture on Earth. They are nearly everywhere to the point where until recently they were the only idea or concept people related to when the word extraterrestrial or alien is mentioned. They are everywhere in popular culture: stickers, t-shirts, mugs, movies, traffic signs, posters on walls, action dolls, and so on, and that continues in space as well, at least in this galactic quadrant, because they are also everywhere. One of the most important things to know about them, and that is hardly mentioned elsewhere outside of my group, is that they are not one race, they are many, all looking very much the same, but with important differences between them. There are at least 165 different variants of grey aliens, including some that look like them but are biologically very different. I will describe the most important or relevant variants of them next, relevant because of their general influence, or because they are commonly found on Earth or near Earth. Although they are found nearly everywhere in this galactic quadrant, which is this galaxy divided into 4 equally sized geometrical pieces, the 2 most commonly known groups or subdivisions of them come from the general region of the Orion constellation, which are most usually known to be regressive, or working with or for regressive races, and the Zeta Reticuli grey alien races, that are usually known to be benign or positive. Zeta Reticuli is a binary system found in the southern constellation known as Reticulum, some 39 light-years away from Earth. Although a few grey alien species either have a reptilian DNA background or a hybrid-type amphibian-reptilian genetics, by far most of them have a botanical DNA structure, which means that they are plants, or evolved species of plants. This was found out the hard way, back in the early 1950s when the Americans held in captivity an example of a grey alien, the one known as EBE-1. EBE standing for Extraterrestrial Biological Entity. Although I have some doubts about the veracity of this, it is said that EBE-1 was recovered as the only survivor of the famous Roswell UFO crash, back in 1947. And when the Americans held it in captivity, its health started to deteriorate fast, so as they needed to seek help from medical doctors, and after a few tests, they quickly realized that what they needed was botanists. Although what exactly happened next is quite shady, what is certain is that EBE-1 died while in the custody of the American military, sometime in the early 50s. EBE-1's race was most probably that of the taller version of the Zeta Reticuli greys, which outside Earth are most commonly known as little gardeners. This name is also found in the works of Dolores Cannon, where she describes them as being the gardeners of Earth, where biology there, plants and animals, are the garden. And this is quite accurate because the main activity of the Zeta Reticuli greys is to preserve the DNA of all living creatures on Earth. They intervene wherever the DNA of a species is at risk, repairing it as much as possible with their genetic technology on board their ships, before returning the specimens back to their original habitats. This, of course, includes the human species, in which they abduct specific people to repair their damaged DNA and health, so the people can be able to continue with their life plan in their present incarnation on Earth. Yet greys don't have the same mentality, nor do they have the same range of emotions, or the comprehension of human emotions, to be able to understand the implications of their actions in the subjects they abduct. So, even though their actions may be beneficial for the abductee, they end up scaring the poor person to a very strong degree. This group of little gray species are also responsible for seeding multiple planets with species of plants and animals, which are known to be able to live and thrive on those planets, and which may be convenient for their overall ecosystems. This is one of the reasons why many specific species are found on multiple planets even though they may be hundreds of light years away from each other. They are tasked with this job by the Galactic Federation in exchange for all that they need, although it is documented up here that they used to do this well before the existence of the Galactic Federation itself, therefore the Federation is only using them to further their interests. And the original reason why they do their gardening remains shaded by the reasons and excuses of the Galactic Federation itself, as I cannot find any reference to why they originally garden the DNA of countless planets. All I can find at this point when I'm writing these words is that the Federation tasked them to do so. The biological configuration of the small group of Zeta Reticuli gray aliens who are known as gardeners is, ironically, botanical in nature. They reproduce with spores in biological pods when natural, and in specialized medical pods when in space. They need all that plants need. They have no sexual organs, they are neither male nor female, and they only and exclusively communicate telepathically, as they do not have vocal cords. Another variant of the gray aliens are those who look nearly exactly like the Zeta Reticuli variants but are biological robots, void of any soul, who are genetically produced to serve multiple purposes where a convenient body type was needed, as the gray aliens' bodies, in general, are very apt for long-distance and range space travel, when involving working for prolonged periods of time, in low-gravity conditions and harsh, or unfriendly environmental conditions in faraway alien planets. At this point, I must address another misconception about gray aliens in general, and that is the common theory on Earth that they could be what the human race could evolve into in the future, and which are full of genetic problems that force them to take DNA samples of their abductees in an effort to restore theirs and their species. This is a theory strongly associated with a Darwinian understanding of the evolution of all species, and from the point of view of the information I have at my disposal, this is not true because they are entirely another species which biology has nothing to do with human DNA, because no gray alien variant has human DNA, as theirs is botanical in nature, with a few of their species belonging to reptilian and to amphibian DNA families. Moving on, the most relevant gray alien that has reptilian-based DNA are the ones known as the tall grays, also known as Maitre, and the meaning behind the word Maitre is master. So, they consider themselves to be the master gray alien race, although they also mean to be the masters of Earth. This species is one of the most amoral and regressive extraterrestrial species that can be found. They have no empathy, no emotions, and only have their own interests in mind, with one of the purest narcissistic attitudes that can possibly be found, and to me, that is the exact definition of a demon, and they act like so. This species was developed on a non-specified faraway planet by regressive Draco reptilian geneticists who were looking to make a slave race to do their dirty work, and it is said that the Maitre rebelled against the Dracos, killing countless of them and getting away to form their own independent species. The Maitre found their way to planet Earth, although the reason how they got to the planet remains somewhat shady. It does have a lot to do with the Tiamat Wars, as there is data that states that they were manipulating at least one of the sides of that conflict, and which caused the Galactic Federation to act aggressively against them in a futile attempt to control or to eradicate them and their nefarious influence. According to the information the Armites have given on Earth, the Maitre control half of the world, the Eastern Bloc of nations, including Russia, and the Western Bloc of nations is controlled by reptilian variants, mostly the ones known as Kingu, who answer to their Draco overlords, and the Amiotes claim this is the reason behind the continuous fight between the East and the Western nations on Earth. I find this information highly questionable, as the social and power structure on Earth, as well as the reasons why there is a constant conflict between those nations' blocks, is very different because they are both being artificially controlled by the same group of people, human and non-humans included, as has been described in detail in other of my works, and by my predecessors as well. I must clarify that when I mention Dracos as a species, I'm not referring to the Alpha Dracos, who are a completely different species, space dragons. At this time, the Maitre as a species are only known to exist on Earth and planet Mars. There is no data about them anywhere else, and they are supposed to be transiting from one planet to the other through portals and jump rooms, and they mostly live underground. The extensive data my group has strongly conflicts with many of the data about the Maitre, as the Galactic Federation completely dominates this region in space. And due to the lack of hard data about Maitre existing outside those two planets, Earth and Mars, and taking into account that both are completely under the control of the same group of human and non-human people, I strongly feel Maitre is only some sort of egregore spawn into reality as a materialization of human and non-human common fears. Such a nasty and strong species being contained in two planets only, is somewhat doubtful, as the data is dubious at the least. I will continue to talk about other nicer grey alien species in the second part of this video. Thank you for watching it, and for liking and subscribing for more. I appreciate it a lot. And I hope to see you here next time. Take care and be very well. With much love, your friend, Mari Swaruu.